Hey everyone, today Angela and I are ridiculously excited because we are talking about our favorite topic, technology, because we are techies. And today specifically, we're going to be talking about how to leverage technology in your small business.
Balancing building a successful business and being a superstar mom is hard, and yet, in today's digital world, it's more common than ever.
The question becomes, how do we successfully grow a business and children at the same time?
Join us for a candid conversation as we share our insights into marketing and motherhood. I'm Angela Reeder.
And I'm Jessie Valle. Welcome to the Marketing Moms Podcast.
All right, technology. To be honest, I feel like Angela and I have had this episode in our back pocket for a while, and we've kind of been putting it off because it's one of those things that, like, once you use it, it's gone.
Yes.
But we decided today is the day. We are going to tackle how to actually leverage technology in your small business. And there are a lot of ways. So I'm sure we're only going to touch on a few of the very many ways you can do that. But this is definitely a topic we are very passionate about and can't wait to jump in. I guess I should start by saying, in this day and age, if you don't utilize or leverage technology in your small business, you're going to fail. Like, I hate to say a statement like that, but it's true. Either you're with the times or you're not.
Yes. Yeah. And if you are one of those people that just really, really cannot get their head around technology, hire someone that is.
Mm-hmm. For sure. It's like, I know that it's really hard for, let's say, a brick and mortar who's been in business for, 30 years. It's hard to change your ways. But we have seen with other businesses that if you don't start to move with the market and change your ways, you'll be run out of town.
Yeah.
I feel bad bringing up the example, but Blockbuster.
Yeah. Yeah.
They refused to move with the times, and when they tried to, it was too late, and they tanked.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband was just telling our oldest daughter about that yesterday or the day before, talking about how they had the chance to buy Netflix. And they turned it down because they didn't think anybody was going to want to like mail DVDs back and forth. And they didn't see that people were eventually going to be streaming. They didn't think that was going to happen. And so they turned it down, and they ended up, there's only one Blockbuster store left in the entire country.
There is?
There is. There's one. I'm going to have to Google where it is. I watched a documentary about it.
I mean,
because I'm old.
It has to be, for nostalgia purposes.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually shocked that, do you know the red boxes?
Yes.
The ones that have the DVDs at like gas stations and supermarkets and stuff like that. I still see them around. And I think to myself, who does that? But plenty of people do, because believe it or not, just because you and I are techies, not everyone is, and they still have their DVD players to play DVDs, right, even though we are streaming everything.
Yeah, when I first saw a red box several years ago, I was like, that is kind of dumb. Like, why would you? It seemed like not dumb on the part of on people using it, but like on a business level, I was like, that seems kind of dumb to just be like, here's a vending machine of DVDs. And like, no guarantee anybody's going to bring them back. I mean, I'm sure they have a way of like charging, but it's like, you don't know if anybody's going to bring them back. Like, you basically just have a vending machine full of stuff people like to steal. But they really have, like, they're everywhere now. I think I can think of two right off the top of my head, just in my tiny little town. Also, the last Blockbuster store in the United States is in Bend, Oregon.
Mm, okay then.
So
Road
if anybody's
trip.
around Bend, Oregon, yeah. It is actually now the world's last remaining Blockbuster
Oh,
store.
so sad.
So
It also makes me think of a lot of these like vintage stores and stuff like that, or the CDs, DVDs stores that just, I mean, I see
yeah.
VHS tapes sitting there. I'm like, who's going to buy that
Who has a
anymore?
VHS? Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Another thing to note is I am still, but was extremely worried for Best Buy
Mhm.
because they used to have huge sections of music
Yeah.
on CDs and videos on DVD and all the
Yeah.
things. And now you walk in there and that's just gone.
Yeah.
So I applaud them for knowing when it's time to move on and doing it.
Yeah, they did a really good job. That unlocked a core memory for a second. There was a store around here. It was called Books and More.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it had books, it had DVDs. Well, at the time it was VHS, books, VHS, CDs, like all of the kind of media that people consumed. And so when you were talking about Best Buy, I was like, it's a whole store of things that people don't use anymore.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think it's interesting that books in particular are one of those things that has kind of held on.
Yeah, books have held on.
I mean,
People are very serious about their books.
I know. I personally use my Kindle. So if I'm
Hmm.
going to buy a new book, I buy it on the Kindle unless I'm going to share the book with my mom. Then I buy
Right.
a physical copy so we can both read
Hmm.
it because she
Yes.
doesn't have a Kindle.
Yep. I prefer a physical book, a paperback, to be specific. I'm one of those weird people that prefers a paperback to a um, hardback book. But I buy stuff on my Kindle way more often than I buy physical books because I carry my Kindle everywhere. I can switch back and forth between books. It's easier to hold. When I had kids, it was easier to hold when I was trying to hold them so I could hold and read. So it's just way more convenient. So I do buy more Kindle books, even though I prefer the feel of a paperback book in my hand.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter. When I'm in a story, I'm in a story. Um, okay, so let's transition into talking about small businesses then. Like, how can they
Yes.
utilize technology so that they aren't the next Blockbuster unfortunately.
Yes.
The first thing you can do is honestly, it's not even on our list. The first thing you can do is accept that this is the way the world works. And if you want to
Yes.
stay on the cutting edge, you have to adopt these principles.
Yeah, I think that became really, really clear to a lot of, especially small businesses, when the pandemic hit and things got shut down. People weren't going places anymore. They realized that they needed to have at least some sort of online presence to maintain that connection with their buyers, or they weren't going to be able to write it out.
Yeah. And another thing I think came because of the pandemic is I prefer to look things up online
Mm-hmm.
versus calling somewhere to talk to a person. Like, I want
Yeah.
to do as much as possible without actually contacting anyone. And so that's another reason why it's important that even as little as a website can make a huge difference. But here's the thing, it's not just having a website, it's understanding what things are like these days. You need to have a website that's mobile optimized. I was
Yes.
just on a site yesterday that was not mobile optimized. And I'm over here like,
Really?
yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I was over here like trying to like pinch and move, and I was like, what does
Oh.
this say? And like moving around the page with my fingers. And I'm just like, seriously?
That's rare, but when you find it, I just want to like email them and be like, please fix your site.
Or yeah, please let me help you.
Please
I
let me
mean,
help you.
yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, one of the first strategies I see people like when they think about leveraging technology, this is kind of one of the things they consider the first step is using cloud computing.
Mhm.
And that is, if you're not familiar with the term, that's like Dropbox, Google Drive. There are a lot of other things, but that's the big ones when people think about cloud computing. Um, but there are a whole lot of it. If you have a software that's like online that you use, like QuickBooks or something like that's um, cloud computing. You're using something that's like not physically in your location that you don't, a structure that you don't own. So a lot of people do this without realizing they're doing it. But if you're not, you should be. And also, um, there are a lot of benefits to it if you're using it properly.
And it doesn't even have to be for business, to be honest. I
Yeah.
personally store nothing on my computer.
Yeah.
I store
I have very little on my
everything.
computer.
Yeah, store everything in Dropbox, which means if my computer ever crashed, I'm not worried because
Yeah.
nothing is on my computer.
Yeah. I just have to worry about Google crashing. Like,
There you go.
that's it. That's all I have to worry about. Um, yeah, I use Google for photos, things like that. I store very little on my actual computer.
Mhm.
Anything that I think if this disappeared, I would be so out of luck, gets stored on cloud somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's cheaper a lot of times. Like using Google storage is way cheaper than like investing in extra hard drives or extra storage things that you have to plug into your computer. Um,
Yeah.
things like that. So it can be very useful, especially if you have like remote employees. You're probably going to be using some sort of cloud computer for them to be able to log into your network. Like I said, this is generally, I think, when you talk to people about utilizing technology, that's the first thing they think of, even though that's not necessarily the first thing they're doing that's utilizing
Yeah.
technology. We've got a couple later on that we'll talk about, but it
Well,
has to be done correctly and with security in mind.
yeah.
But when it's done properly, it really, really can help your business
And
and
I
be cost
also,
effective.
yeah, think about just using different programs like you mentioned, QuickBooks. Like the moment you move your payroll to something like that, that can help your
Yeah.
business, right? I mean, I haven't had a physical paycheck in years because
Yeah.
it just automatic like I get the digital one and it goes automatically into my bank account.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's something as simple as that is cloud because you're not storing all of that accounting software on your computer. It's not on your files saved somewhere. It's on somebody else's computer somewhere. It's
Mhm.
on whoever QuickBooks uses.
Yeah. All right. Something else you can do is choose a CRM software, which CRM is customer relationship manager. So basically, you're keeping a digital file of your customers.
Hmm.
Now, this is really useful for doctors and dentists and things like that that have a lot of patients, and then you could make patient notes. But it's also really important for others too, because just being able to make notes about certain people, certain customers, can help you stay in the loop, can help you stay connected to those people.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It can help you keep track of invoices for certain clients. It can help you keep track of what projects have been done for what clients. It's kind of like if you've ever been to, or if you ever went to before they switched to CRMs, like a mechanic, and they had to go to the file thing and pull out your file that had all of the information on your car and everything they've done over the past however long you've been taking it there,
Mm-hmm.
um, and all of the invoices and everything that you've paid. It's like that, but online. Can see all of the stuff, and especially if you're someone that has repeat customers or repeat clients, having everything for that person in one spot is really, really helpful.
Yeah, it also can serve as like a paper trail, right?
Mm.
Like, okay, so you guys might be able to hear from my voice last week and this week, I actually have the flu. And I went to the doctor yesterday, and I know it's awful that I was sitting and I was not trying to eavesdrop, but when the nurse talks so stinking loud, anyway, she was calling someone to basically say, okay, I have a whole paragraph here of what this other person said when they called you. Do you need me to read it to you? Like, she was accusing that person of not remembering the original
Oh,
conversation.
goodness.
And I'm like, you couldn't have done that without that digital file
Without that, yeah.
to have that paragraph of, actually, yes, these are the things we talked about with
Hmm.
you. So you can't tell us we never called you because we did.
Yeah. Yeah, even like customer service, if you have a customer service email or support line, a lot of those use CRMs to kind of keep track of customer support tickets, who's having trouble, who's talked to this person, what problem were they having, what have you already tried, so that somebody doesn't reach out and say, hey, I'm having this problem and have to start from scratch every single time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just like it's basically, like you said, taking your paper files and moving them digitally.
Yeah. And also, if you're doing this on something that's not keeping those files directly on your computer, you're using cloud computing. Congratulations.
Yay. Congratulations, you've checked off one and two.
I think number 3 is probably the first one people do when it comes to utilizing technology. They just don't consider it using technology because it's so much a part of our everyday lives.
Yeah. It's utilizing social media and digital marketing, which I think silly to say digital marketing because these days it's just marketing.
It's all
But
digital marketing.
specifically marketing that uses the technology. So,
Yes.
yeah, social media is so ingrained. I know that Angela and I have talked about this on other episodes. Like, if I want to know about a certain business, like I'll hop on their Facebook business page.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll check their social media. I'll check reviews, see if anybody's posted, if they're active, even local businesses. If they're active on their social media, I am way more likely to call.
Yeah. And and I think it's interesting because it doesn't just have to be. So my husband got an email yesterday from a golf course that said, "Have you seen the forecast for this weekend?" I'm like, that's so smart. Like, for their
Yeah.
marketing, like they were like, okay, it's going to be beautiful outside after a spell of nasty weather. So they emailed everybody on their email list and was like, hey, you
Yeah.
need to come golfing this weekend. I thought it was brilliant.
So smart. I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, interacting with people on social, through email, they're all really great ways to connect with customers and clients. And like I said, it's usually the first thing people do because it is so much a part of our lives. And actually, when you start looking up like how to start a business, I remember this from all the years ago and it's still the same now. One of the first things that it's going to say is get on every single social media
Ugh.
platform and start an account with your brand so that nobody else can take it, even if you're never going to use that social media platform.
Yeah. No. But I also like, yes, the social media stuff is important, but I also kind of want to point out, yeah, that digital marketing side as well, where you
Yeah.
just need to use technology to market. So maybe that's local targeted Facebook ads
Hmm.
or, just
Or a text messaging list. but
Yeah.
don't message them 4 times a day.
No.
I just had to drop off of a text messaging list because I kept getting messages all day, every day.
Yeah. I'm actually now on several. I decided to it's hard because do you remember back in the day, and we're not old, okay? We're not. But do you remember back in the day when we used to actually communicate with friends over email?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
businesses started encroaching on that because they
Yeah.
go where you go. And you're like, oh, this feels violating. And now it's like, okay, email's the place that businesses go because we use text messaging. And then when businesses creep into your text messaging, you're like, oh, this feels violating. Like we try to keep promo and personal separate, but a good marketer is going to go where you are.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are going to text messaging. So I finally started releasing my phone number to some places. Like I get a daily Bath and Body Works email. I get or text message. I get text messages from Kohl's. Like I get text
Yeah.
messages from certain restaurants around town. Just like, hey, we're running a special today. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting them. Doesn't mean I have to act on it. And it's the same thing with
Sure.
email. Just because I got an email with a promo doesn't mean I need to act on it, but it's nice to feel
Right.
like I'm in the know.
Yeah, and every once in a while that promo is going to hit the right person at the right time. The when my husband and I upgraded our phones a few months ago because we had just been talking about it. Our phones were they were a couple versions old. They were starting to act up. Our younger daughter's ones were starting to act up. And we just happened to get a text message promo that was like, hey, come in and upgrade your phones for whatever off and get a free whatever iWatch, iPad thingy. Um, and it just was the right exact message at the right time. And we were like, let's go. And 20 minutes later, we were in the store talking to a
Yeah.
salesperson. Now, that's not going to happen with everyone every time, but having those promotions that can go out definitely increase the chances of somebody coming into your store, going onto your website, buying your thing.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll get like a message or something that's like 3 p.m. ish. Like,
Yeah.
hey, order your pizza now and you can pick it up as soon as you're off work.
Yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah. So just think about the best way to utilize social media and digital marketing for your business. You won't be sorry because you really need to go where people are hanging out, and people are hanging out online.
Yeah. So, number 4 is to incorporate e-commerce platforms. So this is like Shopify. A lot of the website builder platforms have e-commerce functions. Wix, Squarespace. I don't think Weebly has it. WooCommerce, if you're on WordPress, there's like a whole bunch of different options. Samcart, big something, big commerce maybe. Um, but having the option for people to buy something online is definitely going to increase sales if you are I mean, you can use it if you're a service provider, but let's be honest, it's mostly for product based businesses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not necessarily because think about it. Whether you're a service provider that is physical, like go arounds to physical locations,
Hmm.
or if you are a service provider online, you need a way for people to pay you
That's true.
digitally.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you walked up to a food truck and found out they only take cash?
Like
And
cash.
you're just like, who the heck carries cash anymore?
Yeah.
And it's just as simple as that. Just being able to say, you know what? You can, well, not Venmo because that's not supposed to be
Right.
for business, but here you can PayPal me or
Yeah.
something like that. It just the ability to utilize technology to take a credit card, knowing that that's more with the times
Yes.
than cash can be
Yeah.
important.
Actually, so a year or so ago, my oldest went to Chicago and there's apparently a place up there. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a really famous touristy. People go there a lot, lots of shops and restaurants. And one of the things that the company that took all of the school kids up there did was give them all like $20 prepaid gift cards, because this whole section, this whole like block of stores and restaurants didn't take cash, like as a general rule. There were a
Mm.
few that would do it, but for the most part, they only took cards. Nobody took cash. And of course, when kids are on school trips, they almost always have cash to buy lunches. So that was one of the things and it was so weird to me. Like, it's weird to me when I go somewhere and they only take cash
Yeah.
because that's so rare. But the idea that there was a place that just only took cards and didn't take cash at all was so weird to me.
Yeah. Well, I was at a certain store the other day and I went to the self-checkout and there were
Mm.
self-checkout spots that only took cards.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like you
I
said,
think we do
sometimes
have
you'll
a
see the
couple of
cash
those.
only, but you'll see
Yeah.
the card only too.
Yeah. Yeah, cash is definitely becoming a little bit more rare. Like you said, who cares cash? But yeah, so if you are selling anything, services, products, e-marketing platforms, they got really, really big pandemic because physical stores had to shut
Mhm.
down. A lot of places were not allowing them to open at all. Some were only allowing them to have so many people in them, things like that. So a lot of businesses moved to having some sort of online ordering, um, which I think is fantastic because I don't like to people.
Yeah.
Uh, and so online ordering is one of my new favorite things.
Well, yeah, even when my husband was going to go last night, I wanted chicken noodle soup. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just go to Panera and get some like homemade chicken noodle soup, right? And instead of being like, you know what, I'm not going to explain my order to you. Let's pull up the app and just put
Mhm.
in our order together, make all our customizations, take our time looking at the menu, not with a line of people pressuring us behind us, and then put the order in. And just something as simple as that makes life
Yeah.
so much easier. But if you're not a business that offers that,
Yeah. You're going to lose out on like a lot of business.
mhm,
And a lot of restaurants have that now. I was trying to do pizza, I think, with uh with our family the other day, and I was going back and forth and tracking everybody down and trying to figure out what we wanted. And my husband said something about all of this effort of like downloading an app and putting your payment information in and tracking everybody down to find out what everybody wants and putting your just to keep from calling.
yeah. Well, I don't know. That's why I like on our iPhones, Apple Pay, but there's also Google
Yeah.
Pay and things like that. Like I
Yeah.
don't have to put my credit card in every time.
Right, yeah. I
I
really
can
like that
just
as well.
click, it uses my face, and then it's paid.
Mhm. And that is one of the benefits of the e-commerce platforms, is that a lot of them will automatically allow people to use whatever sort of payment processor they like, whatever sort of payment they have
Mhm.
on hand. You don't have to like specifically sign up for Apple Pay to process payments through that and specifically sign up for Google Pay. Like, a lot of them will just say, here, sign up for this platform, fill in your information, and we will handle all of the taking of payments in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. All right, something else you can do is automate routine tasks. Now, this is actually something we've spoken about or at least touched on in another episode, but it, there's just so much you can, instead of going out and thinking about your customers, look inward at your own processes and the efficiency of your business. Just automate routine tasks to free up your time for other money making activities.
Yeah, automate email marketing, write 2 or 3 newsletters and schedule them to go out for the next couple of weeks. automate
Or social media. You can do the same
or
thing. You
social
can schedule
yeah,
out.
automate your social media, automate sending out invoices if you have like retainer clients, automate sending those emails out every month that have invoices on them. Anything that you do repetitively can be automated or
Yeah.
in at least part. Like social media, you have to make the post, but you can still automate having, you don't have to remember to send it out every single day.
It reminds me also of an automated message when you message someone's, say, Facebook business page
Yeah.
or an email. Sometimes you'll get an email back immediately or a message back immediately that says, "Thank you for reaching out. Here are
Mhm.
the expectations. We'll get back to
Yes.
you within a day. We'll get back to you within
Mhm.
3 business days." Like, you can set those expectations up front, and your customers don't have to wonder when you're going to get back to them.
Yeah, that is really helpful. Even if it's something as simple as these are our business hours, and if you've emailed outside of these business hours, it's going to be whenever
Hmm.
before somebody sees this email so that people aren't wondering, like, because some people do have 24-hour customer support email people. And a lot of places don't, but nobody's left wondering, like, did somebody see it? Did it get lost in the shuffle? Like, when am I going to get an answer?
Hmm. Yeah, it's just utilizing technology to communicate and be clear with your customers.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I
Automating
definitely
tasks
like
is
the
definitely
invoicing
helpful.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
As service providers, I have had recurring clients where I just set
Hmm.
up an automated invoice and it invoices them the first of every month and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. My favorite is when you can do that and then they automate the payment. Like they set up automatic payments. And so everything's automated. Nobody has to remember to send out the invoice. Nobody has to remember to pay the invoice.
Hmm.
Everything is just totally taken care of. And there's also a lot of automation with like project management and things like that that can be
Hmm.
done to make things run smoother. And I know we've done episodes about those in the past as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Another important thing is to use technology to store and analyze your data.
We're getting into my favorite parts.
Oh boy. I am not big on data and numbers and everything. However, I understand the importance of that stuff. And I was actually reading a book yesterday that said data is pointless. Like, no, no, not that. It was knowledge is power, is the saying. And that's ridiculous. It's stupid. No, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Because you can sit there and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn, and that gives you no power. But if
Yeah.
you take that knowledge and actually act on it, now it is power.
Yeah.
And it made
Absolutely.
me
And
think
there
about that
are,
here too. There are so many people that are like,
yeah,
look at all these pie charts, all this information. I'm like,
look at all this
it's
stuff.
literally a waste of your time unless you take that information and do something with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can make all kinds of pretty graphs out of analytic data, but I'm not a marketer. So, like, I can make you a pretty graph. I can't tell you what it says or what it means for your business, what you should do about it. Um,
Yes,
I
you
can give it to the
can.
I can give it to the person that you hired that does know. Okay, sometimes there are some things that I can look at and I can tell you what's going on. But data analytics is one of those subjects that's coming up more and more in the news, even in non-businessy settings, because of data privacy and things like that. So, the more you can collect data on your site now in a way that's not invasive to your clients, the better. And the more that you can do it on something that you own on your site, the better. Um, Anytime you run ads with like Facebook or Google, they're going to have you put a little piece of code on your site so they can track and see how effective your ads are, which is great because it can help bring down ad costs and things like that. But that data is not your data. That belongs to Facebook. That belongs to Google. That belongs to whatever company you're using that's, putting the code on there and tracking it for you, for ads. So having stuff on your own site that lets you see what people are doing, what pages they're landing on, how long they're staying on there, what they're adding to their cart, how many people are adding it to their cart and then not buying it. Like, those are all really, really valuable data points for seeing what parts of the process of getting people to buy your thing might be sticking people up.
Yeah. And if you say have a blog or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
knowing which articles are the most popular is very important. Or if you have like an FAQ section, knowing which one gets the most clicks
Mm-hmm.
because they have the question and you're not being clear enough.
Yep.
Those sort of things. Again, it's only power if you take that knowledge and do something about it. So we're not saying to collect data for data's sake. We're saying to actually analyze it and use it to your benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just thinking and making sure we hit all the points on there.
It's okay. I'm trying not to jump on a data privacy soapbox, so let's move on.
Well, speaking of, the last one is to invest in cybersecurity.
Yes, please, 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 please. Please invest in cybersecurity for yourself and for your customers. Um, Make sure your business is protected with good passwords and password policies, with encryptions, with secure payment processors that are like trusted and well known, like Stripe and PayPal. I know a lot of people hate those because they take, fees off of them, but like they've been in business a long time. They know what they're doing. They have the security. Like, because the last thing you want as a business is to have either somebody hack into your website, take all your stuff, to put things up on your social media that are going to get you in trouble and turn off a whole bunch of your customers and clients, to steal everybody's passwords, because then you have to do the thing where you email everybody and say, hey, I did a bad job and somebody stole your password. So that password that you have for 800 things needs to be changed, because we all know that even though you're not supposed to,
Mhm.
everybody uses the same password for everything.
Yeah.
I am guilty as well.
I think it's hard. It's almost like this isn't just, hey, you need to protect yourself. I think it's, hey,
Hmm.
you need to open your eyes.
Yeah.
As we're not just sitting here saying, hey, you need to leverage technology for your business. We're also telling you that, hey, this also means that criminals are becoming more sophisticated and they are utilizing technology to hurt your business.
Yes. And also, the more you use technology, the more you open yourself up to that. Like, I have a lot of clients that run Facebook ads, and they are constantly getting spam emails from Facebook, quote unquote, telling them something's wrong with their account. You need to click here, log in, tell me whatever. You need to update your payment card on your ad account. And they forward them to me, is how I know this, because they forward them and they say, is this really a thing? And then I look at the email it came from, and it's like, Bob from xyz.com. And I'm like, no, that's not Facebook. um, but because they're running those ads, because they're utilizing technology, they're opening themselves up to getting scammed.
Mhm.
I know we did the episode about when we tried to do the um, trademark,
Mhm.
and it, like, almost immediately you had an email. Uh, so it
Yeah.
does open you up to a lot of things, especially if you have a website. And it's not necessarily like people think about, oh, somebody's going to hack into Google or somebody's going to hack into Facebook because they have all this data. But it's not necessarily that they're targeting you because they think that you have something they need. They may just be targeting you because it's automated, because cybersecurity criminals like to automate things too.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
may be automated. Your website might be on the same server as another website that they're trying to get onto, and they think they can do that through your site. There's a lot of different things that go into that, but there's also a lot of things that you can do that are really simple that can help protect you while you're using technology in a good way.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Whew.
That was a big episode.
It was.
Especially
but I kind of
for
knew it
one of
was
us
going to
having
be
the
because
flu.
we were passionate about it.
Yeah, we did know it was going to be big. And especially for one of us having the flu.
I am going to be honest with you. I think I'm running out of juice. Like, I'm running out of power right now.
You kind of look like you are a little bit.
Believe
I hope you
me,
can take a nap.
To be honest, I have a lot more I'd like to say.
Yeah.
But I just can't. I think my voice is done. Anyway. So, our main point is don't become a dinosaur, move with the times unless you want to shut down.
Yeah.
And part of that, like I said at the very beginning, is just admitting that this is the way the world is and you have to change with it or else it will crush you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are using technology in a fun way, please let us know because we are techies and we love to learn about new programs and ways of using things. If you have questions about using technology in your business, reach out to us on Instagram. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. We're so honored this is where you chose to spend your time.
If this episode helped you in some way, please share it with another mom who needs to hear it. We're in this together.
And if you're ready for next steps, free goodies, and more, head over to marketingmomspodcast.com.
We'll see you next week.